Panic at the Lock, Sailing Vessel Cyclops, Episode number 4. Today, the Cyclops adventure starts with my favorite, upwind sailing. Again, I am making mistakes, which I call learning. The in-hauler is over-trimmed. This creates a deep curvature to the bottom third of the sail, which is inappropriate for today's 15 knots of wind. After moving the jib cars, I finally figure out the cause of my error. Cyclops is a kind teacher, but firm. It is very easy to tell when she is poorly trimmed. Whenever the boat is heeling too hard, I push the flattener button. The main sheet quickly rectifies the problem. I typically would lower the traveler on a boat, but the main sheet allows for more wind to be spilled. The rigger made the headsail furling lines too short for my taste. I will change them out for lines that can reach the companionway winches. The current setup requires me to face aft for the first few feet of furling, which is inefficient. I want to look at the job underway. In this case, I would like to look at the jib to see if the furl is going well, rather than look at the clutch. Here I'm doing a quick adjustment to the topping lift. Yesterday I counted the miles of halyards and sheets that I have figure-eighted during my life. It worked out to an entire trip to Mars. All kidding aside, cleaning up lines is an important part of an efficient boat. Twist comes from winches, and proper coiling pushes the curls to the bitter end. I typically coil using my natural wingspan. If the line is heavy, I will use a winch to hold the top of the figure eight. Either way, I work hard to keep my lines running smoothly. The first step to raising the traveler is releasing the leeward side. The traveler is the only line on the boat that does not change sail shape. When you drop the traveler, the angle of attack changes, but the sail does not get deeper, like when one drops the main sheet. This is why it is great to drop the traveler in puffs. With a tight vang, easing the main sheet and dropping the traveler will produce similar results. I wish the JPK's traveler had more purchase, or my arms had more power. Another recurring rigging challenge is to get the main to drop properly. The main halyard has slack at the mast, so the problem has to be friction somewhere between the entry point and the head of the sail. Suspects are the block at the top of the 2-to-1 main halyard and too much batten tension, or possibly a gnome inside the mast putting friction on the halyard. I will cure this next summer. Cyclops has check stays, which control the mast shape on windy days when the staysail is flying. The rest of the time, they are in the way. I walk them forward before hoisting sails so the boom can have a full range of motion. This is a tour of the clutches located at the companionway. The French call the collection of clutches the piano. I love that name. I am not aware there is an English equivalent. The starboard has 7 clutches. The first is the jib sheet in-hauler, which routes the jib sheet inboard to allow the boat to point higher, or in my case, creates horrible sail shape. Cyclops has 3 reef points. Each reef point has a reefing line for the tack and a reefing line for the clew. This requires 6 clutches as opposed to the more common single-line reefing system only requiring 3. To make reefing easier, the rigger cleverly made the pairs similar but not identical colored lines. For example, the yellow reef line on the clew pairs with a yellow and black reef line on the other side for the tack. We are looking at a map of the Golfe du Morbihan, which is an inland sea with 40 islands. Only 2 of the islands are open to the public. The cursor is our path for the next week. We will visit Île-aux-moines and then travel far inland by a shallow waterway to a 15th century city, Van. We need to manage the tides to avoid running aground and to arrive in Van while the lock is open. Here are some of the beautiful boats that we sailed past in the Gulf. I would like to encourage viewers to leave comments. I very much enjoy hearing your opinions, suggestions, advice, and questions. Heck, I'd just like to know where your boating area is. I'm never going to monetize this channel, but instead, It is my virtual yacht club bar. Ponton à linéaire. That means a long dock, as opposed to a catway, en français catway, that is a more traditional slip. And Gail's getting off the boat as we're waiting for the service au rade, the ferry, to take us to the island. This is definitely not our ferry. Way too big. Here's Cyclops, nicely tied up to a dock. We look down this side of the dock, and let's see, there is nothing but water. Then we spin around, look into the sun, hopefully that doesn't hurt your eyes, and there's nothing but water. The dock is not attached to land, but fortunately, the rib driver will give us a ride. What is the plan? This gets so frustrated with me. We've got the local version of the Optimist. Then we have, in the distance, a fleet of catamarans. And we have a Hanse motoring out with her full wardrobe of sails up, but a backwinded jib. We're now looking at French Stonehenge going back 3,500 years. Like Stonehenge, they really don't know what it's for. A sanctuary, celestial navigation, who knows? Despite the island's lack of roads to the mainland, there were plenty of great places to dine. Fans of watching paint dry might also enjoy my sport of monitoring the output from the solar panels. The boat has two 80-watt solar panels, but like all sailboats, one panel is often shaded by the boom. For those viewers that eat, you may be surprised to find out that the Galleon Cyclops got rave reviews from Gail. Omelets are being served today because we had a hard time finding them on shore. Okay, Gail?
Yes, Jason?
What is the name of the mark we are passing right now? It's a big boy mark, isn't it?
Yeah.
Troué? C'est quoi? C'est un nom ou un mot? Ouais. And how was our departure today? Was that a little relaxing, or maybe
a little exciting?
A little exciting.
Yes, we had a lot of current against the boat, and it was a little bit exciting to get off the dock.
Any contact?
No contact.
Then it's a win. Twee. Twee, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was red.
We had an easy transit of several locks as we approached Van. Both of us were enjoying having a smaller boat that allowed for these types of harbors. It is definitely closing. It's a manual operation. The guy's just kind of shoving the pontoon out. Van is full of picturesque buildings, great restaurants, an impressive town hall or hotel de ville, and finally, a small museum. After 4 glorious days of exploring Van, it was time to head out. To leave, one must do a 180-degree turn in a narrow canal. Our fender is dancing with the fender of our raft-up partner, a motorboat we climbed every day to board Cyclops. To make it easier, I went farther into the lock where the marina widens. It was an easy turn with lots of help from the thruster. Both of us were prepared for a relaxing day of following our entrance track. The running path I had used in the past few days followed our route back to the Gulf. As we transited the canal, we encountered another sailboat. The rules, listed in the cruising guides, clearly states exiting yachts have the right of way. We saw a boat coming towards us at a choke point created by a small sailboat hoist area. I decided to slow the boat. I then stopped the boat when it was clear the oncoming yacht was not changing course. As expected, I lost steerage. You can see me fighting the boat as the bow is turning to port. The thruster is stowed, so I have to steer with the rudder and wait 20 seconds for the thruster to descend.
You go where you need to go, Jace.
Eventually, I got the boat under control at a wider spot and resumed forward gear. At the time, I was a bit miffed. But on later reflection, I panicked too early.
Le président, c'est pour le bateau qui sort. Ouais? Le président, c'est pour le bateau qui sort.
precedence. I had really nasty current there. Merci. There was plenty of space if I had just kept going. However, this experience is all new, so I was overly conservative.
There's another like powerboatish looking thing that's coming towards me.
My outburst is vindicated. As we exit the primary lock, we notice on the left-hand side we have 3 green lights. And the oncoming boats were shown 3 red lights. So the entering boats had ignored the light signals.